and welcome to Tea and Toasties. I'm Sabrina.
And I'm Rich. We're your hosts, co-hosts.
Hosties.
With the mosties.
With the mosties.
We have.
And this is our first episode.
This is exciting, eh?
So exciting.
The
bit nerve-wracking.
Super nervous. I mean, we do this a lot. We chat. It's just that we've got microphones now pointed at our faces.
Just trying to ignore the elephant in the room.
Uh-huh.
Well, if you're listening, thanks for joining. Thanks for giving our little pod a shot. We hope you'll stick around.
Right. This is only episode 1. I'm sure we'll get better.
Yep.
Shout out to number 1 superfan, Erica, your mom.
My mom. What is up, Mom? I finally get my hi, Mom moment.
Uh-huh. So, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
I'm feeling good.
This has been some build-up, right?
It has been some build-up. We've been talking about a podcast for, years at this point. The original idea kind of came a couple years ago. Us at a brewery, me, you,
Imagine that.
Johnette, other number 1 fan.
Yes, Johnette, shout out to JB. That's my wife. So, yeah, the 3 of us were at a brewery, Sierra Nevada, right?
Yeah. Just shooting the shit, a couple beers in, ranting, raving about, I don't even know what.
Who knows? I don't remember.
Who knows at this point. And, said, we should start a podcast. People need to hear this.
Yeah, it must have been fascinating stuff.
People need to hear this.
Oh, we thought it was good. 2 or 3 beers deep, it all sounds good, right?
It all sounds great. You think you're the smartest, funniest person in the world.
Uh-huh.
But that was the original kind of throwaway idea. We weren't going to just put mics in front of our faces 3 beers in and then call that a podcast.
Well, some people do.
Some people do.
Yes.
We've got tea instead. Actually,
yes.
It's coffee. Sorry to spoil the
You've got coffee
the
in
image.
Yours?
The first ep already. No, I do have coffee. I do the tea at night.
You do the tea at night,
right?
You do a special tea at night, right? What do you do?
A special tea, a mushroom tea. No, I just do a sleepy time
tea.
Relax, chill tea.
Right. You don't do an afternoon tea, right?
I don't. No. I don't do an afternoon cuppa.
Cuppa brew. So yeah, we are called Tea and Toasties. Why? What happened there?
Right. Okay. So first original idea for the pod is thrown out, and then I'd say here and there over the years, it's still brewing.
Very nice.
Pun intended.
Good pun.
There was a few months there pretty consistently where we were having lunch and talking for hours when we should have been working. And all the conversations started as business discussions, and then we'd find ourselves on some random path trying to solve the world's mysteries and problems and everything. And
digging into this, that, and the other.
And that's when I think I truly was like, this could be the podcast.
We should be recording this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, you mentioned it or revisited the idea.
Revisited it, yeah. I think I was thinking about it in the back of my head, and then I just kept getting further and further to the front of my head for a while.
As ideas do.
And then as it got more serious and more, I saw the potential in it more, I thought, okay, let's do it. Let's discuss and actually make it happen.
Back up a little bit. You've always wanted to do a podcast.
Always, right? Like, since podcasts became
because they're
popular.
Pretty new.
I became obsessed with podcasts years ago, probably 2017, I'd say, was a big, when I first really got into podcasts. I was listening to them nonstop. My mom would even say when I lived with her, I always just hear Sabrina and these voices following her everywhere she goes because I had it playing on my phone constantly. But I never felt I had a good idea for a podcast. I didn't want to think, people need to hear my ideas.
You didn't want to do a solo one?
People need to hear what I have to say. It's so important. I never had that. I didn't want it to come off like that.
Yeah, okay.
So I needed it to be something I thought was worthwhile. I kind of was like, I just want to start a podcast, but that was as far as it went. I never had a plan or really an idea that I thought was good enough to be worth listening to.
Right. So you're probably waiting for other little bits to fall into place.
Yeah. And of course, it's with you. That only makes sense.
Okay. Then why is that? So we're at work. So let's
get into that.
Get back a little bit. So work.
And what is that? You're asking. What is work?
Yeah, what is work for these two? What do they do when they're not podcasting?
Right. So that is where the story starts of our friendship. now friendship. Funny to say, right?
Okay.
So Rich and Johnette hired me, 5 years ago?
5 years.
To help them with their online Etsy shop that was popping off, super successful.
Enough for us to want to hire someone.
Years under their belt. They were pros at the time. They just needed a little extra help doing some computer things, business things. We can get into that in future episodes. But and so they brought me on. And
Johnette found you on Indeed,
she did find me. I was at a job that I hated at the time, photographing children.
Wow.
If you know me, you know.
That's not your...
It was a bit too overstimulating for me.
Right.
And, not enough pay, et cetera, et cetera. All the reasons why you leave a job, right?
And that's why you would go on Indeed.
And I posted on Indeed, essentially a cry for help. And Johnette answered the call.
She heard that help cry.
Yeah. And they brought me in for an interview.
The interview. Which was at our house.
At your house at the time.
Yep.
You had your finished basement,
not a spooky, cobwebby dungeon type.
Right. And I remember talking with Johnette back and forth a few emails, and then her asking if I would come to your home, specifically the basement, to do the interview. And I remember, I said yes. I must have been desperate at the time because my first thought and only thought really was, these two are going to murder me.
Yes, it's a basement interview, but is it? Did you look us up? Did you?
I think I did look you up.
Snoop us a little bit.
I did, but there wasn't much to find.
Yeah, we've cleaned up our background. So you can't find too much about us.
Right. I don't know if I knew the Etsy shop at the time. Looking back,
I think you looked at it. You told me you looked at it because you said, "Hang on, what's with the poems?"
Oh, interesting.
Do you remember?
Already clowning you for the poems on the interview. So yeah, I did look it up before the. I know I did at some point early on. I didn't know if it was before the interview or after. But now that you mentioned that, I do remember saying in the interview, like, "Hold on, these guys are legit.
They're serious about
this." Because I think
this.
you asked me, like, why do you want to work with us?
Right.
And I remember saying something along the lines of, like, working for a small business like this that's successful. It's exciting. It still is. I still say that. That's love that. It's so cool. It's not a normal, quote unquote, normal job.
No. What do you remember about that interview? Were you nervous or?
The normal amount of. I know, right? I was so different then too.
Very different.
Very different.
Very different.
I was a normal amount of nervous, I think, for any interview that anyone is, you know. And then the fact that I also wanted it because I didn't want my current job added to that as well. The stakes were higher. And then the underlying tone of potential murder. But as soon as I got in and talked to you guys, I was like, oh, they're normal. They're cool. And we also had the interview upstairs.
Yes.
Also, you guys had a nice house, plants everywhere. We sat at that beautiful big ass wood table you guys used to have.
I can't believe we got rid of that table.
I know. And
lovely table.
Yeah, I just remember being like, okay, these people are cool, nice. I remember for some reason, did you hear that?
What is it?
Gertie's food bowl just went off. That's hilarious.
Gertie the cat, by the way.
Gertie, my cat, of course. She has an automatic feeder because she's a menace to this household. Anyways, I remember my mom asking me, how'd it go? How are they? How, just asked me about everything. And I said, like, great, good, all this stuff. And she was asking me specifically about you two. And I remember saying, like, yeah, and the husband, he's something. Because you had an accent, but I couldn't place it for some reason in my head when I first met you. I don't know why, because to me now it's very obvious.
Obvious English?
Yeah, but also I'm used to it.
Yeah.
And I think you have that thing where you've been in America so long now that your accent has kind of morphed into its
definitely morphed into something. It's
unique thing.
Yeah, it's not English, what I would say. It depends who I'm around.
Right.
And I've been here
20
years. So I think I've definitely, Gertie's just beating me up at this point. Yeah, my accent is definitely, it moves around, depends who I'm speaking to. I met actually an English guy the other day in a bar and we just clicked. It was so nice just to speak to an English guy, fellow Brit, and we both basically dropped our American, our accents, our version that we deliver
right
normally
to us.
Yeah,
stupid little Americans.
So that you're able to understand. That's what I do. I'm like a chameleon kind of thing where I'll adapt my accent so that I get understood.
Right.
But for us both, because his accent was pretty similar to mine, we just dropped into complete English, and it was so nice.
Yeah.
Felt relaxed. It was so good. So obviously you got the job.
Got the job, and then have been at the job. 1 sec.
Start again.
In classic Gertie fashion, she sat on the laptop and stopped the recording. Gertie, that's your final straw. You might have to be kicked out soon.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got the job.
You got the job.
And
Whoop. Good for us, good for you.
Good for both parties. And it's just slowly evolved over the years. My role, I guess you could say.
Yes.
It's been just, growing, doing more, feeling comfortable to speak creatively.
I remember that. I was always trying to encourage you, we want to hear your voice.
Yeah.
Want to hear your voice. We want your input, which is why we hired you in the first place. We wanted another perspective. Like Johnette and I had took the business to a point, we started in 2011, we were on Etsy. And so you came on board 5 years ago. Do the math. Math is not mathing, but however many years that was. And we had taken the business to a point, to a level, which was great level. Don't get me wrong. But we also were ready. I wanted to work on the business instead of in the business. You know what I mean?
That's the slogan.
That is our slogan. So I could get freed up from doing a lot of the computer work, daily things, and then put my mind to how we can grow this business and develop it and further it. And so that's why we needed you to come on board. And at first, I think we saw the potential, but I think maybe at first you didn't feel, it's a trust thing, We wanted you to feel brave enough to have suggestions.
Right.
Because not every business encourages that, right?
For sure.
Jobs I've had, they're like, no, just do what you're told.
Yeah, shut up and do your work, head down. And,
yeah. So, but from the get-go, which I don't know if you found odd or whatever, but we wanted to hear your ideas. Yeah. Your creativity.
Definitely. That was said many times, and I still was not doing that for a while. My perspective was always, I came into this no experience. Which is expected and fine. How do you have experience running an Etsy shop, especially so specific with the type of gifts that we do?
Right.
I didn't have any experience. You guys were the pros. You guys have been doing this for so long. Sure. Also, it's your business that you created, you started. It was like your baby, essentially.
Yeah.
So me coming in, I kind of was like, okay, I just need to be as helpful as possible, do what I need to do, and stay out of the way. I was like, it's not my place, to
suggest, right?
To suggest. Also, so early on, I didn't know what to suggest. I had to get to know the business and get to know you guys and how you work. Because I remember a lot of my job is responding to messages, talking to the customers. And for years, I was talking to you and reading a message and saying, okay, now what do I say? What should I respond back? I know what I would say.
Right.
And now me, you, and Johnette have morphed into one singular person, which, is like the persona,
the
Johnette,
collective,
the connective Johnette online, because it's her, it's her name on the Etsy, it's her account. So when we're talking to customers, they think they're talking to just Johnette, but realistically, it's all hands on.
Right, the three of us have a hive mentality.
It is, yeah. So we all sound like the same person, essentially.
So that's right. Before, when you came on, we were signing from Johnette, and that's the shop is in her name, and then it took a while. You were signing off as Johnette, but you were like, so what would you say in this? And it was just you were learning how to respond in the way that we would respond.
Yeah.
But then you obviously now, years later.
Right, I've got my own tag now.
You got your own
tag? I sign off as Sabrina.
Uh-huh.
But also in that time I was thinking Oh my God.
Gertie's clowning again.
She's going to have to go.
No.
This is like a jungle gym in here.
Yeah.
During those times, I was also thinking, like, this is y'all's reputation. I don't want to say something that they wouldn't say, because it's like I'm signing off as Johnette. Like, that's a big deal to me. And you guys took customer service like so seriously, which we still do. That's
that's our thing.
That's our thing. It's the thing.
It's the thing.
It's what we always say is like one of the big reasons it's so successful is because all of the reviews we have.
You should check out the reviews. What's this company called again?
What is this called again? Yeah, it's called Alphabet Art Photos.
So get your phone, press pause on this pod if you like.
Wait.
Yeah, we'll wait 5 seconds if you want to jump over. Look up Alphabet Art Photos on Etsy. Check out their stuff.
You know. Look at it. Look at those rave reviews.
Check out the reviews. You know, they'll make you feel comfortable.
But as a shopper, that's the first thing I'm doing almost.
Reviews.
I'm going straight to those reviews. If there's even one bad, I'm like, all right, I'm out of here. Yeah. Looking at the reviews. So I think that really helps just, the repeat buyers and the sales. It's the reviews.
Because I don't know about you, it's not often I will leave a review for something. It has to be something that's really exceeded expectations. Someone's gone above and beyond. They've gone past the, all right, I just make this or ship this or resell this and send it out. But for someone who's gone above and beyond, then I will definitely leave a review, give them a shout out.
I think also throughout the ordering process, we're very involved with the customer, always replying. I mean, we work, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. You on the weekends, you work after 5, constant. It's, if you message on Etsy, someone will reply. If you message right now, we will reply within, I guarantee you, 30 minutes at least.
Wait till this episode's over, we'll be replying.
So some of those people mention that in the reviews.
Yeah.
The communication was great, yada, yada. And then I think that encourages people to buy because that encourages them they have a question about something. Usually you'd think like, oh, they're not going to get back to me. I don't want to bother them. But they're like, no, I'm going to shoot them a message because seemingly they're really responsive. Yeah. And then we do respond, and then that encourages them to then buy. Yeah.
Yeah. So look at us. This is what we do. We talk about work. This is basically how Sabrina and I chat
all the time.
Is we'll just talk about work, and then all of a sudden our brain just goes off into one, and we're like, hang on, what about this? Did you see this on Netflix? What are you doing?
Right.
And we'll just digress. But then we generally came back to the work thing, and we're like, we've just come up with this great idea for a new product, or let's try this with marketing. And it seemed to help our creative process, didn't it? It was just because it was the way that we were talking, it was like it was very comfortable. So there was going back to the whole wanting you to speak up and give us your ideas, going back to that slightly, is that you got to a point, I don't know whether it was just time or trust or whatever it was, that you felt, I can just throw this crazy idea. And I remember a time a few years ago when we tried pretty much everything marketing because we needed to, just trying to grow the business. You'd got that confident that you were ready to sling an idea in, and like, it doesn't matter if that idea is the end idea that you go with. Right. That idea can spark, another idea. And it was just a case of talking things through and just, I don't know, it was just being creative.
Yeah, that's what I've learned being here is there's no bad idea. Everything in this industry, if you want to call it that, I guess, is trial and error.
Trial and error.
You never know until you try something. And like you said, you guys needed a new perspective. You've been thinking everything about this business for years.
Yeah. Well, you introduced us to Instagram. We didn't have a clue on that. Yeah. Johnette and I are old Facebookers.
Yeah, old Facebookers.
So you were like, have you got an Insta presence? No. Yeah. Or it's very minimal. So, it was great to have your perspective, a younger perspective, where, we could perhaps hit a different demo.
And it's an unconventional job.
Very small team.
Small team. It's just the 3 of us. It's been 4 a couple times, 4 currently.
4 currently.
With the shipping and framing department.
Hello, Bella.
Hello, Bella. Yeah, very close quarters, and it just kind of lends itself to, I think, us all getting closer on a not just business work level. You know, we're going out, we're having business meetings at Sierra Nevada. You know, just growing closer, growing the business, all that stuff. And yeah, found ourselves having lunch for an extended period of time and thinking this could be a pod.
And lunch would consist of what?
Tea and toasties.
So yeah, generally I would make some toasted
I'd be
sandwiches.
upstairs.
Yeah, you'd be upstairs.
Rich would shoot a text or come in. You want a toasty?
Want a toasty, mate?
I remember the first time he said that. I'm like, what is that? A grilled cheese? And you're like, yeah, you know, like a toasty sandwich.
Toasted
Doesn't have to
sandwich.
be cheese.
Yeah,
It's kind of just whatever you
put
find.
some ham in there, some turkey in there. You got to have a bit of cheese, I think, for the melted.
For the melted,
You
with
know,
the- yeah,
you got to have that in there. But yeah, a toasty and cup of tea or no?
No, we kind of stretched the truth a bit on the tea. The tea is
Usually
more
a
of just
coffee.
it's usually a coffee, but actually not at lunch. It's usually a
soda.
sparkling water.
Sparkling
a
water.
soda.
Not a soda, sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'd stop for lunch and
Start talking biz.
start talking biz.
Like, okay, this
how's
is
it
what we're
going?
doing.
What are you up to?
Uh-huh.
What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
What you watching on Netflix? And I guess during that time, we both just kind of thought, hang on a second, we get on.
Yeah.
You know, we get on.
Yeah. I remember saying some things and you being like, whoa. We're like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And like vice versa, just realizing that we're so different on paper, right?
On paper. If you
On
look
paper.
at us, we're quite different.
Quite different, but yet seemingly so alike, or at least mindset
Mindset, yeah.
so similar. And like
Yes,
you
views.
understand what I'm saying. If I have some out there idea, or I'm like, you know what I mean by that? And you're like, totally. And then you'll feed off of that. And a lot of those conversations to me were like, how the hell did we get here? What are we talking
Yes,
about?
yes.
And that was so intriguing to me of we're starting talking about work, quote unquote, and the creative side of things. And then it just leads us down this other path. And then, like you said, kind of then circles back to work.
Generally.
And it's like, how can we apply what we just talked about in this like point of view and these thought processes to what we originally started off talking about, work?
Exactly.
That is the reason for the pod is we would just talk and talk and talk for so long. And as far as the business stuff goes, I think we need a little PSA right at the top is that we're not professionals. We are, but we're not. This is not a how-to entrepreneur
it's
podcast. This is just our experience with our experience, which
Exactly.
is unique and different, but also relatable.
Yeah.
We're hoping to be just relatable in terms of creativity,
Yeah.
that kind of thing, how the creative mind works,
Yes.
and hoping to have some guests on
Guest
periodically.
appearances, yes.
We're also fellow creatives, but different
Stay
creatives.
tuned for episode 3, by the way.
Episode 3. Stay
There'll be
tuned.
a
Little Easter egg
special
there.
guest. Yeah.
Because our theory is that all creatives sort of think similarly.
I agree. That's probably why we get on. I know that's why Jonette and I found each other connected and built a business. You know, we're a married couple of 20 years that have been with each other 24/7, creating a business, living together.
Yeah.
You've got to have things in common.
And it's not even just things in common. You guys have this unspoken, it's like a mind meld.
Mind meld.
Like-
It is.
We touch on this in a Q&A video that we released recently about the business, all this married and business.
How does that
How
work?
does it work kind
How
of
do you
thing.
make that work?
So yeah, go give that a watch.
Where would you find that?
I think it's the YouTube.
YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll put a link or
Yeah.
something like in the show notes.
Something like that.
Yeah, something.
In the show notes.
Show
Look at you.
notes.
This guy's listened to a podcast or two. He's a pro already.
You've taught me. That's what you've helped me with, is to stop me getting old.
Oh, awesome. Love that. Is there someone doing that for me?
I don't know. You've paused my aging.
Aw.
You've given me. So I guess we need some background here. Like Sabrina and I are very different in age. We have different
Right.
backgrounds. We're from
Right.
different places. We look very different. We, on the face of it, the tail of the tape says you just wouldn't put us together as buddies. And I think this podcast, I'm hoping it's a celebration of our friendship.
Right.
If you know what I mean. Just showing that, yes, you can have all the differences. And on paper, these two, why would they get on? Why would they even stop to talk to each other or whatever? But it's just to show that you can have all these differences, and it's the differences that actually have made our friendship into what it is, because I find your perspective interesting.
Yeah.
And just to, I don't know, just to see things a little bit through your eyes, it gives me a new way. I'm someone that really likes to learn, grow, develop. I don't think I'm the finished article. I don't want to be. I always want to grow. And just to have a different input, like, what about this? Have you thought of it like this? From your perspective, I love that.
Yeah. And I think it's so interesting that it is so different and a different perspective, but yet it's something that we can agree on or relate to still, even though it is so different.
Yeah.
Like, that is so exciting to me. I love human connection, relationships. That's my number one thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's like why we're here.
Exactly.
I think. And yeah, it's just so cool to be able to connect.
And I love just learning from people.
Yeah.
You know, and I learn from you, and you make me think in different ways, different aspects. And it's not just, like we said, for the business, it's like, and I love that when you're like, oh, what about this? And I'm like, yes, great idea. Let's run with that. But it's also, you'll introduce me to, a new TV show that I never would have looked at, or just something, what were the kids saying?
What's the lingo? Yeah.
Words that come out of my mouth that I normally wouldn't say. So
I've got some of yours I've taken as well.
You've got some? You've adopted some?
Yeah, usually over text, because we'll do the chat during the day. Like Tamaz.
Tamaz, yeah.
Tamaz.
What's Tamaz?
Tomorrow.
There you go.
And then like TTFN. Ta-ta for now.
Ta-ta for now.
I love that one. Yeah, that one's hilarious to me.
Right?
Every time you text that, I laugh out loud.
Bonkers?
Bonkers? Oh, yeah.
Is that
bonkers?
That's the thing here, bonkers?
Yeah, not as much, but definitely people do say bonkers.
Yeah. Tea and Toasties is supported by Alphabet Art Photos.
Hello, Governor. Have you ever walked into a room and felt like something was missing in it? You know, that one blank wall that just screams for attention, but you have absolutely no idea how to fill it?
Oh, I know that feeling oh so well, y'all. It's like you want something unique and personal, but everything you find is just, generic.
Spot on, geezer. We have the perfect thing for you. Alphabet Art Photos is a small biz on Etsy that's sprucing up wall decor with their niche alphabet photography.
Yeah, I hear those folks create beautiful personalized art by using photos of everyday objects that resemble letters of the alphabet. Y'all can spell out your's name, a favorite word, or even a meaningful date, such as a wedding, graduation, even when you folks get to retire. It's like having a piece of art that's truly yours.
Imagine strolling into your living room and spotting a sorted, personalized piece that not only fills the space, but also kicks off a bit of conflab, innit? It's a brilliant way to dazzle your guests and make your gaff feel more like, you.
And Lord, it don't stop there. I reckon Alphabet Art Photos can transform any room, your office, your bedroom, heck, even your kid's playroom, into a space that shines brighter than a silver spur on a brand new pair of my dancing boots.
Also, supporting this lot means you're supporting a vibrant small business on Etsy. You're not just buying art, you're investing in someone's proper dream. And I know they'll be chuffed to bits.
Well, I do declare, if you're chomping at the bit to turn those blank walls into a masterpiece that reflects who you are, head over to Alphabet Art Photos on Etsy. Trust us, your future self will thank you.
Yes, mate. Make your space uniquely yours and let your walls do the talking. Use promo code TNT30 at checkout for 30% off your order of Alphabet Art Photos. That's etsy.com/shop/Alphabet Art Photos, promo code TNT30. Also, we've been through some shit.
Oh, you getting into the shit?
It's part of it, isn't it?
It is.
It's how you get closer to someone. It's
That
like
is.
going deeper than surface level, you know? And we've been forced to, as a business and otherwise, to get in there. We've got to work some shit out.
Yeah, yeah.
Be there for each other.
Exactly.
It's been some hard times over the past 5 years.
Yeah.
Super high highs and super low lows.
I mean, it's life, right?
It's life.
It's not just, upward trend all the time, is it? Life serves up its things.
Yeah.
And it's how you deal with it. And it's, when you're up against it, when someone's got your back. And, that's what I've learned with you. I mean, dang. I was
Oh
yeah.
Uh-oh.
What have you done?
Well, no, we can just say like
like loss. Where I was going.
Yeah,
Loss.
It's like one thing happens and you're there like the amount you need to be, and then another thing happens and it just keeps building and building on itself. Of like, okay, well, I can trust this person, or they were there for me at this moment, so I know they'll be there for this. You open up more and more with each kind of thing, and it. Yeah, I mean, I remember I can speak on one of mine, not specifically, but I remember a few years ago I asked to take a month off of work.
Yeah, yeah.
Straight up, like, I need to be off for a month. And no other job would have ever accepted that. It would have just been like, no, you're, lost my job.
See you later.
You guys were able to just, let me step away for a whole month.
Yeah, that was a few years back, right?
A few years back, yeah.
And it was just like take all the time you need. Just go look after yourself and be healthy. We're here, if you need us, kind of thing.
Yeah, and then just day-to-day stuff too. Now it's like, if I'm just having a shit day, I know I can come in and say, this thing happened.
Right.
This is going on, and you'll be there as a friend.
Yeah.
And also as a person I work with and collaborate with who's going to understand in that regard too.
Yeah. That's just a environment, I think, that I would love to have been involved in myself. That's what I think Jonette and I have tried to do, is go back to some of the first jobs that we've had and how we were treated, and just like, why does someone who's obviously higher up than me, I guess, if you want to call it that, or my boss or whoever, why do they abuse that authority and treat you like you're just a piece of dog shit, right? Something on the bottom of their shoe.
Yeah.
I'm a person.
Yeah.
And I think you get more out of people, and that's the environment we wanted to build or create, was an environment where you're working with people, and if people feel comfortable and a place where they feel secure, you're going to get the best out of people.
Yeah, you create the environment that you want and the trust that you want with people.
Yeah. Fundamentally, when you're going to work, I feel that you're going to perform your best if you're feeling, physically and mentally you're on top of your game, aren't you? Mm-hmm. So whatever you got to do at home, make yourself. We've talked about this before. Is I like to see, the balance of I don't necessarily see a work life, home life. I just see it's life for me.
Right.
It's
yes.
life. And that's coming from a person that works from home. It's their own business, and it's easy for me to say that.
It's true. Yeah, you have more control over the balance.
Yeah.
But it is true. It's like, that's also the mindset thing we've talked about too. If you do have a job that sucks, that you cannot control the balance as much as we can, you can at least control your mindset to a certain extent. You can't look at it as, work, and then when I get home, that's when my life is.
Yeah.
Or on the weekend, that's when my life is.
Yeah.
It's your life constantly.
Yeah.
So even if you're at a job that you hate, or a job that just isn't ideal, you can at least shift the mindset a bit, or try.
Why not? Yeah, shift it, show up mentally as well as you're there. Don't just show up and half-ass it.
Yeah.
Or half-ass it, sorry. And half-ass sounds terrible.
Half-ass.
I know, half-ass.
Half-ass.
Half-ass sounds terrible.
No, it sounds normal.
Half-ass.
Half-ass.
It's like kick-ass, right? Do kick-ass in English.
Well, kick-ass?
Yeah, do it in English.
I just did, didn't
No.
I? Oh,
Oh,
you're English. Kick-ass.
Sounds terrible. It doesn't sound kick-ass, does it?
Oh, I guess not, but...
Kick-ass?
Half-ass.
I'm going to kick some ass.
I'm going to kick some ass. Yeah, that's funny. There is a quote, Parks and Rec, the show. Never whole ass. Or no, don't half-ass two things, whole ass one thing.
Yes.
That's
it.
It's great advice.
Whole ass it.
Whole ass everything you do.
If you're going to ass it, put the whole of the ass
Both
into
cheeks.
it. Yes. Fully.
Double cheek.
Double cheek it. Uh-huh. But that's the point. Is, show up, double cheek, even if you hate the job. I'm not saying, all right, I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of pushback on this.
Here we go.
But feel free to comment.
Our first cancel.
Yeah, right. Give me a load of shit for this. But I've been there. I've been to jobs where I hated it. And I guess I did shift my mindset along the way. It wasn't a thing. I just thought, okay, I got to do this. It just was an evolving thing. And I thought I got more out of the day when I just threw myself into it. I was more present because, okay, it might not be a job that you're going to stay with, but at least there's opportunity in every moment of the day. It's just you've got to fire in the opportunity.
Exactly.
And if you're going in and basically tuning out and just not connecting with your colleagues, not connecting with your boss or whoever, the customers, wherever you are, whatever you're doing at your workplace. If you're not engaging, you're not opening yourselves up to any opportunity.
You're just on like this robot zombie autopilot mode for 8 hours every day.
If you're doing that, leave that job.
Yeah. And it's a slippery slope, at least I've found for me in the past. Once I get that idea in my head of this fucking sucks, I don't want to be here, then it's like, it starts like getting closer. Like at 3 p.m. I'm thinking, God, like I need to get out of here. And then at 2 p.m. and then it comes to like, I don't even want to get out of bed. I don't even want to go to work. And then you're calling out of work. And then it's like your mentality, your whole mental just depletes.
Yeah.
Because it's just a horrible thing. And I'm not saying, put in the extra work that, you're not getting paid to do type vibe. If you're at a minimum wage, do your minimum wage, Like fuck that corporate America, all that jazz. But it's your life at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You can't just, to me, that's just a lot of time wasted. Being upset about life and being, it's not no quality of life.
Yeah. Is that why then just work, do that 9 to 5, put that dead shift in, go home. You're spending more time at work than you're at home. So, you might as well look for opportunities, connect with people. Who knows, right? You're Ingalls on the checkout. Yeah. And actually I've been there. I've done this as the person, the person who's with their trolley, their basket. And I've got all my...
Trolley.
Is it a trolley? What do you call that? Buggy,
shopping
I've been
cart.
here long enough to that shopping cart. Shopping trolley.
Shopping trolley buggy.
The thing that you put all your groceries in. So I'm there and I'm checking out, and you got two types of people who are checking you out. The one who's just like not looked up, is just scanning the shit, putting the shit through, and just minimal eye contact, minimal anything, and you're on your way, done, nothing, no interactions. Or I could be someone who's not headhunting, but I'm looking for a very a proactive someone that's a new employee to fill a role in my company, and and if there's someone there at the checkout who's like engaging me, asking questions, and I can see that they're overperforming perhaps for this role, but they would be ideal in our company. You don't know who
you're like, what the hell are you doing here?
Yeah. It's like, hang on, dude, are you looking for another job? Would you be interested? I really like your vibe. What's going on here? You never know.
You never know. And that is so funny because I do not have that perspective at all. Oh. Which is funny. Like you have that as a business owner and someone, and you do the customer service over the top in your own company. Yes. So you're thinking Like, that's how your brain works. That's what
Yeah.
you're looking at when you go into the world. And you love when someone is, like a worker is doing, not the most, but being nice and friendly and all that. Whereas I'm almost the opposite. When I go into a place, I almost do not want them to even speak to me. Like, give me the bare minimum. Not like in a sour mood bare minimum.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be upset or, you see reviews all the time of like a restaurant and it's about the hostess. And it's like, the hostess didn't even smile.
Right.
She just took us and sat. I'm like, so she did her job?
The basics.
I'm like, what do you want from her? You want her to do a song and
cabaret,
dance on the way to the table? Like that. So I do not expect that.
She wasn't wearing a tap dance shoes.
Yeah,
We didn't get a show.
She only did
Very
one cartwheel.
disappointing.
What's going on?
That's interesting. Yeah, from different
But
different
it's to
perspectives.
speak on, you never know who you're going to interact with during the day, my advice is just live for you, but
right.
do
you.
Do what you want to do, the best version of yourself for yourself. And that will always have good results.
Exactly. What we're just talking about here isn't prescriptive. It's not, you need to do this now and shift your mindset like this. This is not the purpose of this pod. It's basically, if you get something out of this, great.
If it enrages you and you want to leave a horrible review,
do that too.
Great.
For us, we're just yapping away.
Yeah.
And if you get something out of this, good or bad, then hey, it's just
we made an impact.
That's pretty much, and this is like a real life example of what can happen if you do put two cheeks into the whole thing.
Exactly.
This podcast.
Yes, that's what that.
This
you
is
just sparked that in my brain. I was going to say this a few minutes ago. That if I had just turned up, that's another thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's an English thing.
If
I had just showed up to work and did the job, clocked in, clocked out, head down, didn't talk to anyone, what the hell? Who knows? I mean, so much wouldn't have happened, let alone this podcast. Like, you just never know where life is going to lead you. And I love that shit.
Yeah, you say that. We've definitely talked about this numerous times. It's you have a path that you think you're on, and life can throw in some hand grenades here and there, and you can slip on a banana skin or whatever and find, hang with me.
Hold on.
I slipped on a banana skin?
Has anyone actually done that?
Who's throwing those banana skins down there?
Who's doing that? Monkeys?
Maybe.
Who's slipping? Other monkeys?
Maybe in a zoo. There's lots of that.
If you slipped on a
slippage.
banana peel, let us know.
Yeah. Why do they use that as a thing?
I feel like it's just that really cartoonish
Are they slippery?
thing. They're slimy.
Okay.
But you know that sound that's like, wee, 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 like in the cartoons when someone falls?
Yeah.
I think it just sparked from that. Also Mario Kart.
Yes, the banana skins on Mario Kart. I played that too.
Anyways,
what would be a more slippery skin than a banana skin?
I'd say potato skins are kind of slippery.
Potato skins, yeah.
Also like a
kiwi.
cucumber.
Cucumber.
Like a squash.
A squash.
Those kind of things. But do you skin those? I don't know.
What would they be doing on the floor? Anyway.
Any freaking ways.
Roads. Yeah, paths. You're on a path, a life path. You think, this is where I'm headed. I've got it all sorted out. And all of a sudden, some shit happens. Shit does happen. Mm-hmm. And you find yourself on a different path. But for me, it's just how you deal with those things. And if you have the mindset, then, and you have the toolkit in place in your head, it's like, okay, it's all about experience. And I've dealt with this before. I know I can get through this again. And I'm just going to put it all down to experience, clock it up and move on. But for me, it's some of the best stuff, the growing is in that little side path.
The shifting. Yeah.
The shifting. The shit happens is like, okay, yeah, it doesn't feel great, but I've learned so much about myself.
Yeah.
In that moment.
It's more exciting to do the thing that you didn't expect you could do than it is to do the thing that you're planning to do.
Exactly.
Even if it's not what you want to do. Because you're like, oh shit, I didn't think I could ever overcome this or get through this or deal with this.
Yeah.
And then it comes up and you're forced to. And on the other end, you're like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So then in the future, now you're like, I can do other
I can
things
do that. Yeah.
and harder things.
If I can do this and I got through this, I can also get through that. I mean, for us two, we are so outside our comfort zones.
I know.
Sitting here doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, neither one of us, I mean, I'll speak for myself, but I'm not a person who is, I'm not going to go do a sing and a dance and be out there. If you're, in a crowd, if I'm not the person who's going to be at the front and the center and being the icebreaker and introducing myself, I'm the guy at the back. Generally, I'm a slow burn.
Yeah.
A very slow burn.
Yeah. I've said that about me too, though, but I will do a sing and a dance.
You don't mind a sing and a dance.
I love a sing and a dance, but I'm also a slow burn. If I actually want to connect with someone, I'll be a slow burn.
Right.
Because I'm a bit hesitant.
Right.
Because to me, I need full trust across any relationship, any kind of relationship at all. It's like I need to be sure. Okay.
Yeah.
This is trust. And then we've talked about this before of like not looking stupid.
Who likes to look stupid?
No one.
Right.
So that there's a lot of hesitation there of like, well, I can't be vulnerable.
Yeah.
What if I look stupid?
Vulnerability is a huge thing. But I think vulnerability begets trust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a kind of, you can put your shields up. And I'm very much a culprit for that, is that you've got to get through all my shields. But what I've learned is to maybe look silly, be vulnerable, and show the person that you are human, you make mistakes. And that, for me, shows them that, this person isn't, we're not all perfect. Yeah. Nobody's perfect. And then it makes them feel more comfortable, and the trust builds.
Yeah.
I can talk a good game, but putting that into practice is
Oh my
tough.
God, I know. I'm always be yourself. If people don't like you for who you are, fuck them. That's like my whole motto. But then I'm like, I can't look dumb.
It's difficult when you're in the situation.
Yeah.
I'll hold my cards close for a good few years.
As long as you're not showing someone something that you're not and hiding,
That's
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Show you, but maybe not all of you right away.
Yeah, no. You're not going to see all of me. I mean, there's people I've probably known for years and years and years who are now listening to this podcast and going, I didn't know that. Why has he opened up? I mean, probably the same. We've got friends and family listening to this who are like, okay, this is good. I'm getting to know them a bit.
Except for probably my mom.
Oh, yeah, she knows you inside out. Anyway, where are we?
So we pretty much laid down the groundwork of how we got here to this point.
Yes.
Business, us, etc. And
got a bit of backstory going on.
A bit of the backstory, and that will evolve. You'll learn more in future episodes.
Yeah, you'll learn more about us.
We'll get into the nitty gritty of certain experiences. We'll have designated episodes for certain
some
things.
of them will just be a whole episode.
A whole season, maybe.
Tell me, what could people expect from our podcast, and also like how did we get here from our original idea, right?
I think people can expect just a lot of this, less groundwork laying and just more topic-based episodes. Yeah. If you're listening to this, that means episode 2 and 3 are already out. So you can listen to those. Episode 2, we'll be getting into New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
Don't like that word.
I don't like resolutions.
Goals, mindsets.
That's it.
That kind of thing.
For me, resolutions is giving up.
Yeah. Ooh, save it.
You know what I mean?
Save it for next week.
It's so good.
So yeah, we'll be touching on that amongst other things. And then episode 3, we'll have our first special guest.
Yes.
Stay tuned for that one as well.
I think we've teased a little bit who that might be.
Very exciting. And then how we got here podcast-wise is kind of interesting. We obviously decided we wanted to do it. And then the name kind of came to be, we were having the lunch and the tea and toasties, mostly just the toasties. And I'm pretty sure it was Aaron. I don't know if he said it first or...
Hang on. Aaron being
my boyfriend.
Yes.
And
rock star.
Extraordinaire. Great person.
Music
Shout
producer.
Out. Yep. If you heard our intro song, that's all him.
That's Aaron's work.
Slade. But yeah, he's like, just call it Tea and Toasties.
Tea and Toasties.
And then I remember we brainstormed some other titles, and then we were like,
nah,
it's just Tea and Toasties.
That's what it is.
And then I remember I went on this AI app, which we cannot wait to get into that. That's going to be another episode as well.
AI and creativity. Yes, that's a really good episode.
I went on this AI app, and I just did a prompt of a podcast, all the deets, and called Tea and Toasties. And it came back with this upbeat, crazy lyrics that we ended up cutting. But Tea and Toasties.
And that
was so catchy. It was stuck in my head. It was stuck in Rich's head, stuck in Aaron's head. Played it for my brother. It was stuck in his head.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, that's what you want. You want a jingle.
Yes.
That's an earworm, kind of.
Yeah, yes.
And so we had Aaron re-record it. All his own the instruments. It's our vocals.
Right.
On the song.
We came over here. We're in Aaron's studio office, and we laid down the vocals for the song.
Aaron and Jeanette are also buried in there on the track.
That was a good day, because what else
fun.
did we do that day?
We did the photo shoot that day.
Shoot.
We figured if we're going to do the podcast, we want it to seem legit and sound and look as best as possible.
We full-assed it.
Double cheeked it. And so we had a proper photo shoot here at my apartment.
Shout out to Kalila.
Shout out. Photographer. Yeah, did great photos. We got a teapot from eBay.
Yeah.
We got all the props.
Prop. So that was fun. That was another piece of the jigsaw. And we thought as soon as we get that cover art, then everything else should fall into place quite quickly.
Yeah, then it's go time.
Yeah.
And here we are, doing the damn thing.
We're doing it, finally doing it. It's been some build up, right?
It has been some build up, yeah.
Yeah. So I think we've got lots to get into. And I think with this style podcast, it's, just conversational. We're just going to yap. And our style of yap is just to bounce about a bit and go from one subject to the next.
Lots of waffling.
Waffles, yes. We can get into some deep shit, or we can just get lighthearted and clown about a bit. That's what you can expect from this. So if you like this style, you're fed up with your true crimes, you want to change track a little bit, then stick around.
Tune in every week. Tea and Toasties. You can find us on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music. You can find us on Instagram. We'll be posting clips, posting weekly when the episodes drop, posting behind the scenes, all of that fun. And that is at Tea and Toasties Pod on Instagram. You can find us on YouTube as well. We don't have video yet, but down the road for sure.
For sure.
So yeah, catch us on all those places.
Tell your friends.
Tell your family. We'll speak at you next week.
Yeah.